good customer service really isn't enough. It needs to be an exceptional experience, right?
Yeah.
And a human connection.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I think has come out in research is, they thought that younger people don't care about human contact.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people, they're just online and they don't care about human contact. So don't worry, just they'll buy everything online. They don't care about that. But I think what they found is the younger people appreciate it even more because they haven't experienced it that much, because there isn't very good experiences in retail most of the time, and so they're really wowed when they do get it. Yeah. And they go, wow, this is, maybe don't think that way, but they walk away going, wow, that was something I really want to experience more of.
I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. On today's show, we are in Spokane Valley, Washington at the Quilting Bee, which is owned by Scot here. And his manager, Makayla, is also joining us. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming us into your shop. And I was like, this is a long shop, but hopefully they'll have us.
Well, we tossed a coin.
Well, thank you so much. And I love this shop. I've been here before. And so I just wanted to come talk to you guys about owning it for one thing, and then also managing it, because, it's like my dream. So I'm like, pick your brain. Tell me how to do all of it. So Scott, I want to start with you. You guys have had this business for over 40 years, I saw online.
Well, we haven't. No, the business has been around for 40 years. Okay. We're actually the third owner, and we've owned it for about 11 years.
Okay.
Just had our 10th anniversary last October.
Okay.
And then we've been in this location since February of 2017. So we're just 4 years, I guess, something like that. I don't know, 4 or 5, whatever it is. It goes fast.
Yeah, right.
Dream or a nightmare, not sure which.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so you've owned it for a little bit. So your guys are the ones who built this new building then, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where were you before?
We were over just a little ways down I-90 at the Pines interchange in Spokane.
Okay.
And so we went around looking for a new place to build, and so this is the best location we could find close to another freeway interchange, and a good location that we could afford, so on and so forth. So we're very fortunate to find it. It actually turned out to be a friend of my dad's that owned the property.
Oh, nice.
After looking all around for like 6 months, then it's like, oh, look at that, this guy owns it. So it's kind of
handy.
Handy. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Again, I said I've been here before. It was just once, but when we walked in, I was just like looking at everything. I think I laughed the store 5 or 6 times because I was just so excited to see everything, and it just felt really like comfortable and happy to shop in here. So I appreciate that.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. It's supposed to be a candy store for quilters. So that's the idea. We want to build something where you could come in and really have a great experience, and there's, as we talked about before we started the show, you can't build a large enough quilt shop. We figured that out right away. But we built as much as we could, and a little bit more than we could afford. So it was fun to do. And if we had to do it again and we had more money, we'd build a bigger one. But it's still fun to create something. Just like it's creating a quilt was fun to create a custom quilt store.
Yeah, that would be that would be a dream. I don't know, just to be able to set it up how you want it and not have to retrofit anything to an old existing building, but make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time, measuring what we had in our old store and trying to figure out what we want to expand into, and trying to organize just how we wanted the classroom to be and just how we wanted the repair shop to be, and so on and so forth. And of course, you move in and 2 years later, I wish I would have thought of this or that, or didn't know we'd grow so much in this area. And so you do the best you can, but it's still nice to be able to not, like you say, go in and retrofit a space as opposed to designing it from ground up.
Right. That's so cool. So you have a classroom, is it? And I think I've seen that. How do you run classes a lot, or? Yeah,
we have about 100 classes a month. So we have a lot of classes. When we bought the store, they had a lot of classes, and so we just kept expanding that. So our classroom's about 1,500 square feet, and you can divide it into 1, 2, or 3 classrooms.
Okay.
So we can have large events in there, and then we can have small classes, including like machine mastery classes. So it works pretty good for that. We even have as designing it ourselves, we have a pass-through from a full kitchen into there, so we can open these little doors and serve from the kitchen directly into the classroom, which has been fun to do. Of course, during COVID, that didn't happen so much.
Sure.
So we're like, well, that's gone, but that's another fun feature that we're able to build into the store.
Okay. So, do you quilt?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I have been known to sew.
You've done it a couple times.
Yeah, I've done some sewing, and I've done some machine testing, stuff like that. Hey, my wife would say, this is a new machine. Can you just sew every stitch this thing has? Make sure that, it does every stitch well. So I sit there. So while she's doing something creative, I'm sitting there doing the...
Just feeding it.
Yeah. That's about the extent of my...
Not too much commitment.
I set up quilt, long arms and things like that, but I have other hobbies. And I don't have the patience for sewing. Because if something goes wrong, then I'm not very happy and I have to put it down.
Yeah. They my friends call me the cussy quilter, so.
The cussy quilter, that's good.
Being slow out of my mouth when I cuss. when I quilt.
Well, there's all kinds of different quilters I found out. My wife, is the only quilter I really knew, and she's pretty much, hey, I want to, blow through this, get it done, and get it up on the wall, or give it as the gift or whatever. Get up as a sample, and so I thought that was the only kind of quilter there was.
Yeah.
And I find out there's all different kinds. Some are, boy, it's got to be 100% perfect from top to bottom. If there's an 1/8 inch difference from
rip it out.
They rip it. I'm like, nobody can tell. I can tell. It's out.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not like that, but yeah, I do know people like that. I'm like, it's fine. They're like, it's not fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot, and I've been like pushing on my socials to get more people on YouTube and more people on my Instagram so that he'll let me teach him how to quilt. So he's like, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do it. But
oh yes, I did hear about that. You guys have a little contest going, right? And then you're quilting. Okay, yeah.
He was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. I was like, everybody follow me.
You may not be happy about it once you start trying to teach him, because a wife teaching a husband doesn't always work that well.
Yeah. I was a teacher, so I have some education background. I know how to be patient when I need to be. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll document it. And
cut out the cussing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bleep it out, because I'm sure there will be lots, but no. I'm just always curious as to like when families own a business, if everybody quilts or if it's just kind of like you pull from each other's strengths and how that works for you guys. Yeah,
obviously my wife quilts, and that's how we found out about the business being for sale, is because she was a customer at the store. So we both had our own businesses, and we had sold those to go find a business to operate together. So we wanted to do that. And so this after actually about 2 years of looking for a business to buy, this popped up. And so I bring my business experience, she brings her business experience, and she brings the quilting experience as well. So we kind of work as a team, and then we definitely need Makayla, because there's just too much to do running a store. It's amazing. There's so many businesses within a quilt shop, because you have a fabric store, and then you have a school in your classroom when you do 100 classes, and then you have machine sales, and you have machine repair. All those are different businesses that take a little bit different personality style to operate well.
Sure. I can imagine. It's like, I run certain parts of our business, and my mom kind of runs certain other parts of the business, and it's like, yeah, definitely our strengths are shown in that. So it's just always nice to see a bigger operation run by a family, but like, it is possible.
You can do it.
Yeah. So Makayla, when did you start managing the store?
So I started managing 2.5 years ago now.
Okay.
It's people ask me what my job description is, and I say, I don't know. It's something different every day. It just depends on what we need. So. Yeah.
She runs over a fire extinguisher.
Yeah. She's the jack of all trades. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just hope for the best.
Yeah. Have you always been into quilting, or was it just something that...
No, I didn't start till I was probably 16.
Okay.
I started working for a long arm quilter before I knew how to sew.
Oh, wow.
So I went straight in, and then just kind of started working here from there. So started out on the sales floor, and then just have been here ever since, and I love it. And now that's all I do when I get home is sew, and yeah.
Right? I know. It's like you would think that we would burn out, but
There's always something new.
there's always something to do, something new to make. Yeah, that's so fun. So what's like your typical day as a manager? Probably you said it's different every day, but like, what do you hope for, I guess?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like, so I'll help pick out the fabric that we're going to order. I do some of the ordering for like machine parts and stuff like that. And then just helping the team as much as I can. Whatever they need, I want to be able to have them do the best that they can do and give them what resources that they need to do that. So just kind of whatever needs to be done, and wherever they need me is where I'll go. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, she does a lot of helping organize who's going to do a sample for the store,
Okay.
and also helping with, we do a lot of kits. We do a lot of cut our own kits.
Okay.
And so she does a lot of organizing how we're going to cut those kits. Yesterday you were on the phone trying to figure out how their pattern was supposed to work. You know, it's like, your pattern doesn't really follow along too well. We're having a problem with this, and if we're having a problem, our customers are going to have a problem. So she does a lot of troubleshooting to prevent. So there's the fire extinguisher stuff, but she does a lot of preventive stuff, trying to make sure things run smoothly in front of the customer. So she's she's out in back, let's say, with the fire extinguisher and all that, and then the customer doesn't see that.
Right.
Hopefully. They do a little bit, but hopefully they see that it looks organized out there, even if it's chaotic back in the back.
That's always how you want, right?
Yeah, especially with ordering nowadays. Sometimes we're ordering fabric over a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so trying to remember what we ordered and what we were going to do with it.
Like, where did this come from?
Yes, wait a minute.
Well, describe the big board you have to organize
Yes,
that.
I just got a giant whiteboard and put each month and supposedly what's supposed to be coming in that month and what we're going to do with it. However, everything's been weird with shipping, so each month I kind of move everything.
You're like, this can move.
Yep, that'll be later sometime.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, we just got some Valentine's fabric a week ago or so. That was brilliant.
Well, next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people buy seasonal fabric all year long. I mean, I know I'm looking at Christmas fabric already, and it's only March, so it's one of those nice things that you can think ahead and
need time to get your projects done. So.
Yeah. It's like, if you don't put it out until February, it's too late. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I need to make my February quilts in November, Christmas quilts in July. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, the whiteboard sounds like it was so fun. I love to like set stuff up, and we have whiteboards all over our office area and like our house, and we're always like making schedules and drawing up notes and like writing down things, because it's nice to have it right there in your face. So I can appreciate that.
That way you can't forget it if you have to stare at it all day.
Like, oh, there it is. It's not going to get lost.
Somebody else can see it too. They can, she's doing something else, somebody else can pop in and say, oh yeah, that's what's going on with that.
That's nice. It makes it more visible for everybody. So you're not the only one with the mental load of it.
Communication is key.
With back orders, it really, everybody knows that back orders have been a huge issue for everybody, and that has put a huge strain on management for, whether it's a bike shop or a quilt shop or whatever, because all of a sudden you have to try to manage all that, and you have to take all the phone calls from people saying, gee, I ordered that 2 months ago or whatever it is. And so back order on parts, back order on fabric, back order on patterns, it really creates a lot of havoc, and that just is a management load to try to keep the plates in the air and keep communicating with customers. But back orders have been a real challenge.
Yeah. Have you had a lot of pushback from customers because of it, or are they pretty understanding, like with back orders and stuff?
They've been great, I think, because everybody's been back ordered everywhere. It's not just the fabric industry. They understand that it's.
That's good. That's always like a worry. I'm like, please be nice to your local shops, because they're working really hard for us to make sure we can keep quilting through all this. So that's good. The
worst part is when your manufacturer can't tell you when the part's going to be there, because if you could just tell your customer it's going to be, 2 weeks or 6 months or whatever, but all you can tell them is we have no idea, because they've given up, because they thought it was going to be, early on they'd say, oh yeah, the container's arriving in New York, it'll be there in 2 weeks, and then the container sits in the lot for 2 months.
Right.
And so they've quit predicting.
Right.
And so we just tell the customer now, well, until it's, in the store,
right.
really difficult to tell you. Sometimes, we get a shipping notice and we know, okay, we're good. It's shipped from, Chicago or whatever.
Yeah.
But boy, that's
got to be rough.
It is tough when you can't tell them.
Right. You don't even have the answers, and the people who are supposed to have the answers don't have the answers either. You're like, okay, I guess we're going to just wait. Oh, man. Well, I don't think it's really stopped anybody from creating new fabric, and I know just some of my favorite fabric designers have put out new lines recently, and they're starting to show up in stores, and I'm like, well, I mean, the world's still turning, I guess, so we can still quilt and it's going to be okay.
Yes.
And we never ran out of fabric. Luckily, we 2 years ago we were sitting in the dark here with the doors closed.
Right.
And my wife just said, we're just going to keep taking fabric, because a lot of people were halting their fabric deliveries because they didn't know what was going to happen. My wife's like, no, let's just keep taking the fabric. So we started stacking up the fabric in the back, but we had it to keep going when things opened back up. So that was a good decision on her part.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure, because if you're not getting anything new when you are ready to open again, it's like, do you want to be on the other end of that, or do you want to be, what's the word I'm looking
for?
Proactive. Thank you. Yeah. Oh man, the last 2 years have been tough on everybody, but I think it's nice to see the resiliency of quilting itself and how many people started quilting, and that's what gets me so excited and happy about doing what I'm doing, is it's like seeing more and more people joining the quilting community, and I've loved every minute of being part of it, and I just get deeper and deeper, and I'm like, I want more. I want to go talk to more people who are pushing this forward and allowing this modern era of quilting to happen. And
and there are a lot more men quilting now too, just letting you know. There are a lot more men quilting. There's a lot of men embroidering. We had that for a while, but there's a lot. Embroidery is very similar to woodworking from the standpoint of laying things out and things like that. And same thing with quilting itself, long arm quilting. So a lot of men, I know that some of the older gentlemen, that they were supporting their wives doing stuff, and they were like woodworkers, and they go, oh, what? That looks a lot nicer to sit in the warm house and do that instead of out in my cold shop in the winter doing the woodworking. So some of them have gravitated over. All of a sudden, their wife says, "I need a new machine because I can't get on it."
Right.
And so
this guy took it over.
Yeah, we have several of those husband-wife teams that awesome. Have done that. And one of the guys combined the two, and he started making custom frames to go around his embroidery art that he was doing,
nice.
and then selling it for basically no profit, because he just wanted to take it to craft shows.
Right.
So that was kind of a fun thing to see somebody combine the two crafts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He was doing stuff on burlap and things like that. It's just making it really cool. So there's a lot of more guys getting into it too. So that's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I've loved seeing more males come into the scene, because I think. I mean, as you can tell by the title of Not Your Granny's Quilt Show, I think those of us who are, younger and starting into this or wanting to share it with our peers and stuff, it's like we have to find different ways to do things and make it new and exciting. And I think I've said it before, I have nothing but respect for traditional methods and how quilting came to be, but I really love pushing for the modern things and just the creative things people come up with, ways to marry their hobbies and their loves of art and craft, and that's so cool.
And of course they keep pushing the boundaries of what machines do too. So there's new stuff coming out where I can do this on a machine now, or I can do that on a machine now. And so new techniques, like you say, some of them might be a shortcut, or some of them might just be a cool thing you didn't even know a machine could do. So that's kind of pushing the boundaries too.
Yeah. It's our long arm that we have the computer system on it and everything, and just the things it can do. I'm like, it's so fun because we're always finding new things and different ways we can add, personality to quilts. And so it's super fun to see what the machines can do, the new technology that's coming out, and ways to make it, make it more accessible to express your creativity. You don't have to be good at free motion long arming to get a beautiful design on your quilt. And I think that's kind of what people think when you say quilting. They're like, oh no, I can't. I'm like, no, watch this. I have a computer and I boop a few buttons and then it does it. And it's like, oh my gosh. But, so do you guys long arm here?
We don't long arm, we sell long arms, but
Okay.
we just refer to our customers for that because we don't want to compete with our customers. It's
Sure.
kind of our story. So we sell a lot of long arms, and so we just want to support those people we sell them to.
Yeah.
So that's how we operate with that. And going back to younger people, one of my wife's things was to hire younger people because she wanted that. We want distribution of experience and distribution of ideas. We have, I think, 2 people working here right now that are working on or have art degrees.
Oh wow.
4-year art degrees.
Wow.
And they bring, just a whole bunch of different things that we would never have gotten. And the other thing she did is she started doing a team of picking out fabric and making sure she had people that she disagreed with, helping her pick out fabric.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they'll sit back here having a little fight,
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's blood every once in a while, but yeah.
I mean, it's quilting. There's always blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, right. But, it really, she's like, I hate that. And she's going, I love that. Okay, well, what are you going to do with that? Well, I'll bet you don't sell much of that. And they'll have a little contest about how much they're going to sell of that. And then, but you have to have those different viewpoints served. And sometimes you see, that's something that I wouldn't have thought of doing with that. And now look at that. That's a great way to sell that fabric because I wouldn't have thought of putting it in that pattern or making a bag out of it or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's so nice to have like different input and see other people's perspectives on things, and because what I would choose won't necessarily be what a client would choose, and so it takes definitely listening and being open to other people's opinions, even if you don't like them.
Yeah, there's always 3 of us, so we have to get a majority is our rule. So
that's good.
But sometimes you can try to advocate this would be good and that, but yeah.
And I walk by and say, I hope you're making the salesperson unhappy as I walk by because I don't want them to overbuy too much. A funny story is when we had the old store, I think maybe it was the 2nd year we had it. She loves batiks, Alice has, and she just buying all these batiks. And all of a sudden these batiks start rolling in the back door and there's no room on the floor. And we had this, I don't know, must have been, 20 or 30 boxes of batiks sitting in the basement because we couldn't fit them on the floor. And I put them on I bought some mobile racks and put them on a rack in the hallway in the basement and say, hey, customer, do you want to come down and see the stuff? We haven't been up on the floor yet. Come to the basement and pick out some batiks. Yeah, because we were trying to offload all these batiks. And I said, and so for the next 3 years, every time I walk by, I'd say, don't buy any batiks to the salesperson, because she just would buy she never saw a batik she didn't like. So it's been a real challenge for her.
We have to put her on a diet sometimes.
Yeah.
You can only have 3 this time, 4 next time. Hey.
Slowly trickle them in instead of all in only boutiques.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But she does that to me too with other genres. So
yeah. Like,
which is good.
Yeah, there's definitely certain lines that I just have, and I have so much of it, and I'm like, I see it, and I'm like, I should buy that. My mom's like, why would you do that? I'm like, because I want more of it. She's like, but you haven't even used what you have. I'm like, and
what if I do? What if I need more after?
I know, exactly. I'm like, I want the scraps to make other. She's like, oh my god, okay, let's do it. Like, she's very easily talked into schemes of buying fabric. So
you just need to take it home and pet it for a while.
Exactly.
That's all.
We just like hang it up and look at it.
Yeah,
leave it out. Then we put it away until we're, But I think that would be the fun part, is like choosing which fabric to have.
But it's so difficult. They struggle a lot because I think, I'm trying to remember the ratios, but we asked some of the suppliers, what % of the fabric that you guys produce do you show us when you come in here? And it was something like 30%.
Oh my gosh.
Of what's available. And then we pick out maybe 25% of what they show us. And we carry around 7,000 bolts. So there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
And so they're whittling down choices before they come here, and then we're whittling down the choices some more, and it becomes pretty difficult because you do want to buy a lot more than you end up buying.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you'd have 100,000 bolts if you bought everything you wanted, I'm guessing, right? You know,
Probably.
and you'd in Costco with your fabric, and you'd be bankrupt very quickly.
Yeah, that's how you can get a big enough quilt shop, is to take over a Costco.
Yeah.
That's like the only way.
I mean, it would be the dream. We just need to find a bunch of people with, money to burn and
Right.
just go in there
Who's
and
got millions of dollars burning a hole in their pocket? We got to buy a bigger shop.
don't invest in Bitcoin, invest in fabric.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell him. I'm like, honey, we need more fabric. He's like, no, we don't.
And it's a challenge because there is some fabric where, we rotate our fabric, into the sale areas and they'll come, how the heck did that not sell?
Right.
And then something else, you're trying to reorder it and they know we're out, you can't reorder it. So, so you don't always get it right. And one of the things they do a lot, she does, it's with the staff, they rotate stuff around the store constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing moving something to a different spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like it seems brand new when it's somewhere else in the store. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah, and we have the staff constantly moving stuff around, and then we have a person comes in on Fridays, and that sole purpose is to redecorate the store
Oh, wow.
every Friday.
Wow.
And the staff helps do that as well, but they're moving stuff all the time, and I think that's a key thing, is just being able to refresh constantly is a really big dynamic. It takes a lot of energy, but it really, I think, is one of the most important things a quilt shop can do, is to continually move their stuff around the store and re-display it in different ways.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of energy,
Sure.
but I think it's a key thing to keeping it look, every time somebody comes back in, it looks a little different.
Yeah, it's like walking into a new shop every time. That's super cool.
And we also need to make room for all the new fabric that comes in every day.
What
So
can we move?
like, what can we move to make room for the new stuff? The 20 boxes that just came in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought a bunch of new fixtures. We have several times. At the last time we bought some new fixtures, they said, "Oh yeah, that's good." And I said, "Okay." So I sold the other fixtures to employees, stuff like that. And then last week, well, we need some more fabric boxes. I'm like, I just sold them to you guys like 6 months ago.
You're like, give them back.
Yeah. Well, we got more fabric. We need to put it over. I'm like, I thought we were done.
Yeah.
Never done.
Never.
Yeah. Oh, there's our mascot here,
Hi, buddy.
Spencer, coming up for air.
So do you guys sell fabric online, or do you have?
We don't sell fabric online, and my wife and I, obviously, we've been told to do that, and we've talked a lot about it. And I'll give you our reasons. Our reasons were, one, we're having a hard time doing what we're doing, was number one. So it's going to take a lot of energy to do that well. And we look around, and there's a ton of people doing a very, very good job of selling fabric online. And the pricing is very, very, very competitive. So if we did it, we'd have to invest a lot in it to compete with people that are doing it very well. And we'd have to have lower prices online than we have in our store.
Right.
So don't come into our store, buy it online. Well, that doesn't go with, getting people in our store. So
Right.
we're trying to do brick and mortar really well,
Okay.
and that's hard enough. And so we've decided not to do that. We're selling kits online, some machines online, but fabric is just so hyper competitive that, again, we just decided not to do that. And I know a lot of people would say, well, that's just not a very good decision, but that's our reasoning. And then we're doing very well with our brick and mortar. And we want people to come in our store. We want to give them a good experience. We built Disneyland for quilters, and so we want them to come and experience our store, and we want to do a good job of that.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't sell fabric online.
Okay.
And we may never. And maybe we're just old. But I think that's our reasoning anyway. That was our business rationale for not doing that.
Okay.
And the other problem too is we sell a ton of fabric in our store. And so being able to keep track of inventory where somebody isn't buying online, we just sold it the last yard out on the floor.
Yeah.
That's a challenge for a high volume fabric store.
I can respect all those reasons of not wanting to put yourself on there because it's a whole nother level of having to manage the online stuff, as well as if you're busy enough in store and you don't feel like you need to add that online aspect. I mean, but you do have, YouTube videos and other things that you guys put out online, and that can make make it easier for customers to connect with you outside of the shop, which I think is good.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And like I said, we built a brick and mortar store, and so our goal is to have a really good experience when they come in the store, visually and emotionally, and with our staff, connecting with them. And we think that there's been a lot of negative connotation with brick and mortar retail, that it doesn't work anymore and blah blah blah. But I think done right, it works really well. And I think people need other people need to understand that retail does work really well if you create a good experience. And people do want to go out and go to a fun place.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to a place that isn't run well and doesn't look nice and so on and so forth. But I think people do want it. So if we create that experience, then we're confident we can keep doing well. And I think you look around at some other really good retailers out there, and they're doing well too. Yeah, if you walk into Sears and there's nobody to help you and the merchandise looks like it was from 20 years ago, yeah, you're not going to do so well. These department stores went exactly the wrong way.
Right.
They had no staff because,
Right.
and when we bought the store, funny story, I'm an analyst, right? That's what my old business was. And so I bought all this data on quilt shops and analyzed it and looked at the financials of the store we were buying and said, oh, look, they're paying too much money for staff. We can make money by getting rid of staff when we buy the store. And so we bought the store, and we're kind of watching what's going on. We realized, well, something's wrong because we don't have enough staff to really help our customers.
Right.
And so we went, well, there goes that idea.
Right.
And so we said, and my wife's connotation was, we got to staff for success.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing you want to do is not market and not staff.
Right.
And there's two places people always cut, is cut your marketing, cut your staff to save money. But I think you have to staff and market for success. Lay your money out there and be confident that doing it that way is going to work.
Yeah.
Because if somebody comes in my store and they can't get any help, and it does happen, we don't get 100% great reviews. Sometimes we ignore somebody. We don't want to, but sometimes it happens. Not good. But you want, it's close to 100% of the time that somebody comes in and they're wowed and they get great service, exceptional service.
Yeah.
Then I think you can succeed in any retail business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've talked, I worked in various retail jobs, coffee shops, whatever you name it, and it's the same thing. Yeah, they're like, well, we got to cut staff. I'm like, I know you've got a bottom line, but if we don't have enough people to help our customers, we're not going to do well. And I mean, I did when I was a barista, I advocated hard for us having a third person at a certain time of day, because we're like, well, you're not making enough. I'm like, I'm by myself. Like, I can't do it by myself. If you want more money, there has to be more people, because then we can help more customers. And then of course it worked, and they were like, whoa, I'm a teacher, I shouldn't know these things, you should. But
that's the idea, and absolutely spot on to the idea. And we just looked around some other stores of different kinds. You walk in, you walk into Cabela's or something, right? And you go, wow, this is pretty cool.
It's an experience.
There's a mountain in the middle of the store with animals walking down it. You don't see that every day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like something that grabs your attention and makes you go, wow, I don't see that everywhere else.
You can always tell when it's somebody's first time walking into the store, because they kind of just stop and go.
That's exactly what I did. The first time I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to live here. My mom was like, am I ever going to get you out of this store? I was like, no, you're not. But you guys have built that experience. And I think, like you said, you're focusing on the experience, and it shows. I mean, I had a great experience when I came in before as just strictly a customer, and I was helped cheerfully. Like, I was looking for a specific fabric, and I got the help I needed and asked for, and there was lots of people out on the floor helping, and the selection was fantastic. I was just like, man, this is awesome. Lots of fabric lines that are hard to find in Boise, surprisingly, because we have quite a few quilt shops, but it just gave me a really good appreciation for this shop, even though it was the one time, but it left an impression on me. And so yeah, when we were coming up, he was like, is there any quilt shops? I was like, I'm gonna Quilting Bee, let's do it. I was like immediately emailing. I'm like, help, I want to come talk to you. Because it left an impression on me. So I think you're doing the job. I think you're doing it. So.
Well, I say we don't hit it out of the park all the time. It's really impossible to do that, but it's the idea of what you're shooting for.
Right.
Is to provide an exceptional experience because, as you said, go back to buying fabric online, if you can sit on your couch in your pajamas and you can chat with somebody and buy something and never move, that's a pretty good customer experience. I mean, it's hard to be better than that.
Sometimes.
So now I've got to have experience where it's got to be good enough where you're willing to go take a shower, get some clothes on, brush your teeth, and come down to my store to get maybe the same thing or something very similar to what you're buying online in your jammies. And so good customer service really isn't enough. It needs to be an exceptional experience, right?
Yeah.
And a human connection. One of the things I think has come out in research is, they thought that younger people don't care about human contact.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people, they're just online and they don't care about human contact. So don't worry, they'll buy everything online. They don't care about that. But I think what they found is the younger people appreciate it even more because they haven't experienced it that much, because there isn't very good experiences in retail most of the time. And so they're really wowed when they do get it. And they go, wow, this is, maybe don't think that way, but they walk away going, wow, that was something I really want to experience more of. And so there's that opportunity for the younger generation to give them experience they're not used to getting.
Yeah, well, and I think it can be kind of an intimidating, craft to get into because there is so much. And so if there's someone willing to give you attention when you're in a shop and feeling lost, because it can be overwhelming if you don't really know what you're looking at. But if someone takes the time to say, okay, what are you looking for? How can I help you? They help steer you in a direction or show you where things are that you're looking for instead of, just ignoring you and forcing you to wander or answering your questions. I mean, that's been an invaluable piece of how I've shopped in my local stores is getting to know the people that work there, and then when I come in, they're like, do you need help today, or is there anything specific you're looking for? They know that I'm there for a specific purpose, and so they know to help kind of gear my search if I'm asking for help. But it's just nice to be able to walk into a store like that and know that you're going to get good service and have a good selection to choose from and see new beautiful stuff all the time. And I think that's an invaluable piece of it is feeling like you're welcomed into that community instead of being given the cold shoulder, like, oh, you're just a young person, I don't need to talk to you. It's like, well, I'm exactly who you need to talk to.
Yeah, it's very difficult though. Yeah, and I think my wife and I talked about it. We all of our brands of sewing machines, especially, and even some of the fabric, they send us all this marketing material all the time, all these big signs that say sale and big signs that market their product and all this stuff. And so you can walk into especially a sewing machine store and see all these signs and sale and bargain and all this kind of stuff. And we don't have any of that stuff on our floor.
Yeah.
Because we're not about, obviously we want to sell stuff.
Sure.
We're in business.
Right.
But we don't want that to be the experience when you're coming to our store, that you walk in the store and you can tell all they want to do is sell you something. We'd rather have you walk into our store and say, they want me to have an experience. And hopefully that experience will lead you to buy something. But the idea is you're just having a nice experience. When you walk through the sewing machine department, it's not a bunch of, sale signs everywhere. It's just, hey, here's some neat stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want somebody to show this to you, hey, great. If you just want to look around at the bright, shiny objects, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
No pressure.
They're fun to look at for sure. I'm like, what's this one? I can't afford that. Walk away. But it's cute. Yeah, I like that. I'm a fan of your shop, so I am super happy that you were willing to welcome us here, and I think you guys are doing a great job, and so thank you for being in this community and continuing this business here and doing what you're doing, because I think it is important. Offering people that idea of the experience over selling you something is super important.
Yeah, and it's been fun because we both came from different businesses where we were in personal service businesses. And so there was you did the work, you got this much money. Right. So it's pretty easy to predict what you're going to make. If you want to make more money, do more work.
Right.
And retail is a total faith experience, because I could do everything right and God could say, sorry, nobody's coming in your store.
Yeah.
Or I could do everything wrong and God could say, I'm sending everybody in your store.
Right. You're
So
like, wait, what?
every day you wake up and you go, well, I don't know what's coming today. It could be a great day, it could be a horrible day, but I have faith that it's going to work the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So it's been a great faith builder that way.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, we're kind of in that same boat of like, we started our long army business just kind of like, my mom and I were like, we love doing this so much. And Abe was like, you guys want to start a business? We were like, we sure do. Let's go buy a machine. And so it's just been kind of, that blind faith of taking the steps forward to grow it and push it into something that's, a loving little beacon in the community of quilting, that people can come and know that we're going to do the very best we can to enhance what they've already done. And so I just love talking to other people who have that kind of mindset of like, how can we make those connections? How can we make this people centered and express our love of this to them too? So that's awesome.
Yeah, Makayla, how old are you? I forget.
23.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Okay, so you're even younger than me. That's
Yeah,
good.
she started really young in this, and yet, she showed, my wife, we were trying to find, somebody for a manager, and she goes, well, everybody goes to Makayla to ask their questions. There's my manager, because that's the person they're going to, and regardless of age, right? So that, age doesn't matter to us.
Right.
We want people that are a natural fit for the position, and so we try to hire the best people we can, and then we try to morph them into what their strengths are, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to pigeonhole them in some place they're not maybe comfortable.
Right.
So she just kind of migrated to that, and then my wife just keeps giving her more and more and more.
She's like, you can handle it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
You're like, sure, of course.
And she's going to college at the same time, so.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. So she's young though.
What are you going for?
Yeah, what's
Business management.
business management? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, smart. That's awesome.
So, go home, study, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Do it all again.
It's all practical. It all fits together.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And her husband just graduated, and so he just started a new job,
2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
So now she gets to be on normal hours because he was working a night job
Oh, gosh.
during going to school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard. Yeah, we know the school and work life. It's been most of our relationship.
Yeah.
And one of us is always in school.
Right. Like, wow, we can actually, do things in the evenings.
Right.
What?
You don't know if you're married in spite of it,
Yeah.
or whether that's what's keeping you married. Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but it's working. So
Right.
it's fine. Well, that's so cool. Well, how lucky for you to get to work somewhere that inspires you to keep creating and helps you kind of, you're practicing what you're learning in school, and that's super fun.
It's the best job ever, and working for great bosses who respect all the employees and want to lift everybody up is just the best thing. It's so nice.
That's amazing. Oh, how good. That's so good.
I'll tear you down in a minute.
And ones that you can joke with.
Yeah, right. That's nice when it just feels comfortable to be who you are and feel that you can be your best self here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't have any more questions, but I am super grateful that you guys were willing to do this with me today. And we're going to get some shots of the shop so people can kind of see what you've set up. And I know you guys have a trunk show going on today.
That's where my wife is. That's why she isn't here, because she's helping run a trunk show for Cotton and Joy.
Cotton and Joy.
Yeah. So they're in the classroom and doing that.
Okay.
So we always have too many things going on, but that's why we have so many people, right? So we can double team it. So you guys got the bad owner, and sorry you didn't get the good owner.
No, you're a good owner. It's good.
Yeah, friends from Spokane, from Gulick, and so she has been designing patterns, and she just designed her first fabric line with Riley Blake Design. So
Oh, okay. We love Riley Blake.
Yes.
Okay.
So it just came in, so she's meeting everybody, and
I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah.
I always
She's so fun.
when Michael said that she was coming, I was like, "Wow, this will be so fun!" It's like we'll just add to the chaos, but
Yeah.
I'm excited. So yeah. So for our listeners and anybody who wants to check you out, where can people find you online?
So yeah, we have our website, which is quiltingbespokane.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. I think we're even on TikTok.
We're on Pinterest and TikTok.
Yes.
Oh.
But not much.
There.
And then we also have a YouTube channel, so Quilting Bee Spokane on YouTube, and we
Okay.
do lots of tutorials. Recently, we've been comparing different machines at different price points and kind of what the differences are, and then just different tutorials and.
Then we have the weekly walkthrough,
Yeah.
Facebook Live, where we walk through and show all the new fabric lines that came in. Maybe you need some new notions, things like that.
Okay.
And that's usually runs about what, 15 minutes or so,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Just showing the new lines that came in.
Okay.
What's happening at the bee?
Buzzing.
What's buzzing at the bee?
What's buzzing at the bee? I love that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have a Facebook group.
The Hive Quilting.
Yes, the Quilting Bee Hive, where customers can just show their projects and
Share notes.
share notes and talk to each other about stuff they're doing and just kind of bounce ideas off, and just a community online that they can get together and just learn different things. So
That's awesome. Well, we'll link everything in the show notes for people so they can easily get to you. But it's nice to hear that you have such a presence online, even though you don't sell fabric online. There, people can still get to you and see what you have to offer. So that's awesome.
and we do have kits and other things online, just not fabric.
Just not yardage.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of unique kits because, we cut our own. So it's funny, fabric line comes in and somebody goes, yeah, I don't really like the sample they made, but we'll make a kit out of using a different pattern that we think's clever. So they do a lot of that. And so I don't know, I forget, Treasure said how many unique kits we usually have sitting around. It's a lot.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
There's
awesome.
a lot of kits in the
So
store.
if people want kits, they can come to you.
And that's why we're like being close to I-90 because people can just, we have a lot of RV traffic, things like that. People come through and it's amazing. We've sold, I don't know, a lot of little machines to people that want to put them in their RV. It's amazing how many people have to have their machine in their RV. It's like some sort of addiction, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. I mean, some of our clients that we long arm for, they are, snowbirding down south, and they've been sending us stuff that they've been working on in their RVs or their winter houses, and sending us stuff to keep quilting. We're like, okay, but yeah, same thing. It's like I don't know that I could go anywhere where I couldn't have my machine machine available, because when the mood strikes, I'm like, I gotta sew right now.
I gotta do this.
Luckily, they don't have a detox for quilting yet.
Yeah.
So,
Thank goodness. I would be very sad.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for letting us join you today in your shop. And we'll show some footage of the shop so people can see that. And otherwise, they can find you online at the Quilting Bee Spokane, pretty much everywhere, right? So,
Yep.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bye.